Hi everyone, welcome to the CU-Gars 2015 Second Grad Chat. My name is Jesse and I'm a grad student for leadership learning, as you can see under my face. Right now we'll just have everyone go through and introduce themselves.
Hi everyone, my name is Andy Kutcher. I'm a GA for the Office of Community and Ethical Standards. I'm really happy to be chatting with y'all tonight.
Hi everyone, my name is Emma. I'm a second year in the program. I'm the graduate assistant for freshman academic programs here at Clemson. I am running the social media page tonight, so if you have questions that you would like our lovely panel to answer, be sure to tweet at us at CU_GARS or use the hashtag that is in my description on my picture. Thanks.
Hi, everybody. I'm Chelsea. I am the GA for Civic Engagement, and I am a first year in the program.
Hi everyone, my name is Erin Helbling. I'm the GA for Fitness and Wellness, and I'm also a first year in the program.
Hey everybody, I'm Joey Calvillo, first year in the program. Happy to be here tonight. Go Tigers.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sean. I'm a graduate assistant in the Gantt Center, and I'm also a first year in the program.
Hey everyone, my name is Nate Alcorn. I'm a graduate community director in the Shoebox's first year experience community here on the Clemson University campus. And I am a second year, believe it or not. I can.
Okay, my turn? Okay, you go, Ashley. Sorry. I'm Ashley Miller, and I am a resident director for Bridge to Clemson, and I'm a second year GA.
I apologize. I was trying to unmute my microphone and it didn't show up. Hey y'all, my name is Tori McLean and I'm a second year. I am a GA in the ePortfolio program and I am from Greenville, South Carolina.
All right, so with that, sorry for the technical difficulties. We'll go ahead and get started with our first question, which we will ask to Sean and then Nate. So be ready for that. The first question is, what were you looking for in your grad program search?
When I was looking around, for me, I wanted to go to a bigger school. So I looked at programs that were mostly at public schools that had a good amount of people. I also wanted to move out of the area where I was from. I'm originally from Michigan, and so I wanted to go somewhere different. And the South was a good place for that.
All right. I, very much like Sean, was also looking for a bigger school, kind of big power name, big athletics, and so I only applied to schools that kind of fit that criteria. I also want to go somewhere completely different. I did go out of state for undergrad, however, my undergrad and hometown were very similar culturally, and I just wanted to mix it up and try something completely new, and I got that here at Clemson, and I'm currently getting that here at Clemson. Getting it at Clemson. Yeah, I'll mute myself.
Cool. So the next question, sort of going along with that, is what made you apply to Clemson? So we'll ask Andy and then Aaron.
The thing that made me apply to Clemson was first and foremost talking with someone who had gone through this program. They had really great things to say about it. And then I talked with one of the faculty members who is here, and he really sold me on the program. That was someone who I wanted to learn from, and I loved everything about it on paper and loved it even more when I got there.
And I chose Clemson for a couple of different reasons. Ultimately, my search began when my mentor was like, you should really look at Clemson. And when I came to visit for CU-GARS, it was just the right fit. I felt like I was at home. Like Andy, I met the faculty and really felt like it was just going to work for me. I came from a really large university and I wanted something different. So this mid-school was perfect. And honestly, when it boiled down to it, the assistantship and school it was just the perfect match.
Awesome. Thanks for those answers. The next question is for Tori, Chelsea, and Joey, and it is, what other kinds of institutions did you apply to, and did you stick regionally, expand your search? Talk about like that whole process.
Well, I actually didn't apply to anywhere else but Clemson. Ironically enough, I had an advisor that went to Clemson and graduated from our program, and I really liked the way she advised me in like a counseling-based way. It made me feel really included and really worth it, to be honest with you. And I kind of wanted to stay in the region. I wanted to be close to my parents. I know people probably feel embarrassed to admit that, but it's the truth. And Clemson was the place I wanted to be. It felt like home. It felt like the right place for me. And I'm really happy with my choice.
So I am sort of the opposite of Tori. I'm originally from Rhode Island and decided that I wanted to diversify myself regionally. I had never really wanted to stay in one place. I did my undergrad in New York, so I knew that I wanted to go someplace that wasn't Rhode Island or New York. So I applied to Clemson, but I also applied to an Ivy program, which was a year long. I applied to a couple other really well-known programs within student affairs and some that were a little bit less well-known, but still kind of had a strong reputation. I would say that, I mean, ultimately when it came down to it, I was looking, similar to what Sean said earlier, for a bigger school. I went to private university in my undergrad, so I really wanted a public university. I wanted a school that had a lot of school spirit, just because I feel like that really lends into student affairs and what it has to offer its students. And so Clemson just ended up being a really great fit for that reason.
And so for me, I'm kind of right in the middle between Chelsea and Tori. I only applied to two programs, being here and the University of Central Florida. So I grew up in a small town in Oklahoma, and then my undergrad was at the University of Arkansas. So what ended up being my intent to go to something completely different. Clemson is also a land-grant institution, just like the University of Arkansas. So I ended up at an institution that was very similar to my undergrad, but with Central Florida, I was wanting a larger city area in terms of like Orlando. But what ended up leading me here was just the family feel, just like everyone has kind of already touched on. Really felt welcomed and fell in love with the campus, fell in love with the people, and so here I am.
Awesome. Thanks for that. The next question, well, no, sorry, I just somehow adjusted my seat, that threw me off, would be, what advice do you have for applications, personal statements, answering questions, all that kind of stuff? And we'll start with Emma and then go to Ashley and then back to Joey.
Well, I definitely have to be honest to my English major roots from my undergrad. I would definitely say the more people that look at it, the better. So if you have mentors in your undergrad or in your current positions, wherever you are, definitely get people to read over it before submitting it. They'll always find things that you kind of miss in the process. And really and truly just have fun with, the personal statements and the questions you answer on the application, because that is a really good way for the admissions to really see your personality through writing, and so take advantage of that.
To echo what Emma says, I agree. I think that overall you really do want to show your true self. You want to feature experiences that you've had. Can y'all hear me? Okay. You want to feature experiences that you've had in the past. And as Emma said, it's always best to have other people look over it. If you have a mentor in the field, or if you may know someone that graduated from the Clemson program, have them look at it. But you just want to give a true reflection for why you have a passion for this field and why you really are making this a career choice.
Same information just that Emma and Ashley had displayed, but also kind of one thing that I definitely wanted to take a look at when I was writing my personal statement, researching the institution that you're looking for and maybe finding someone or something about that institution or the program that is really drawing you to that, whether it be a faculty member, maybe some of the research that they had, and really bringing that out in your personal statement. I think that goes a long way, and they really take a look at that because of just the amount of research that you put into the program, and they really see that this is something that you're very serious about.
Cool. Thanks very much. The next question is for Sean, Chelsea, Tori, and Nate. Wanted to get a wide range of perspectives on this one. What can you expect from your academic experiences? Classes, schoolwork, like load, etc.
So being in first year, we're just starting our second semester, obviously. So I can kind of only speak to my first semester so far, but for me, I really enjoyed the class experience in that it's really interactive. There's two big parts to that. One is, we are a cohort program, so you're going to take a lot of your classes with the same people as you progress through it. Like, for example, Chelsea and I have had every class together so far. And so you really get to know the people in your program, and you're going to be really challenged to talk about how the work you're doing and the things that are going on around you, both at your institution, wherever you end up, and in student affairs as a whole, are going to relate back to those things that you're learning. And so for me, it was a lot different than my undergraduate experience, where I felt more like I was being kind of talked at, and now I feel like I'm being asked to contribute in a discussion. And then a lot of that stuff takes place outside of the classroom too, with some of your papers and things like that. But I really enjoy being part of a discussion in class.
So I definitely agree with that. The classes are definitely more discussion based and relate back to the experiences that you're having in your assistantship or your internship, what have you. I will just add to that, your first semester of academics here will probably, in my opinion, I think, be the most demanding of the rest of your semesters here, and second years can correct me if I'm wrong because they know better going into this. And it's not necessarily that it's demanding in a way that's impossible to understand, but more so they try to get a feel for your writing skills in that sense at a graduate level. And so, your papers are now going to be 25 pages as opposed to 3 to 5 pages. But the great thing about the assignments is that they all somehow relate back to, again, what you're doing in your assistantship or your internships. And so, although the papers are really long, they're somewhat easier to write because it's all based on your personal experience. So that's awesome. And I just think that every class that you take academically relates somehow to what you're doing. And so whether that be student development or the history of student affairs, there's always going to be some kind of moment that something clicks and you say, oh, I learned that in my class, or I can use this in this capacity, things like that. So everything that you're learning is being put to good use, which I really personally love about the academics here.
Just going off of what Chelsea said about the experience factor, everything that you're learning in class can be used in your practice every day. So I think that that's really cool. And as Chelsea said, too, the assignments get longer, like the 25-page requirement and stuff like that. But you're writing about something that you're passionate about, that you truly love. So it doesn't feel as though you're, having to do a research paper on a boring topic that you don't care about. You're doing something that you are entirely passionate about, something that you're going to go into the career for. So that's really a change for me. I was a graphic design major in undergrad, so I went from doing projects all the time and like cutting out black squares and inking things to really like having to do a lot of self-reflection and understanding like how I feel about certain things because it's very internalized, and how you feel about something is going to be how you relate to students. So it's thinking about how the 2 years of academics can really shape your future as a student affairs professional. So that was really definitely a change for me. And to go off of what Sean said about the discussion piece, it's really nice to hear about all of the experiences that other people are having, and to build off of that and grow and learn about your cohort, because this is going to be the network of people that you are going to rely on later. So that's really special to me.
I think academically our program is triggered to get you a job, and while developing the whole professional along the way. So academically speaking, and I'll echo what everyone else said, it really is building you up to the big bad job search. And in fact, in our semester, the fourth and final semester, our whole class today, we are talking exclusively about searching for jobs and what that looks like in every stage of that process. And I think that every single thing we do in the program, whether it's our 400 hours of on-site experiences in addition to our graduate assistantships, or the classwork we do, the counseling that we do, every single thing is building to making your resume, making you confident and comfortable in the job search, and making you a really well-rounded candidate going forward. And I think that's what's so great, and that's what I brag about our program, because that's the end goal for all of us, developing ourselves as professionals, but also, getting our foot in the door and finding a job. That's why we're here, right? Andy's shaking his head.
Most of us, that's why we're here anyway. So the next question will be for Aaron, Andy, Ashley, and Chelsea. And we just want to know what your first impression of Clemson was.
Okay, so my first impression of Clemson, I can remember driving into town for GARS weekend, and the first thing you see are these paw prints all over the the roads as you drive in, and it's like you're immediately embraced by this Clemson spirit, and that just felt really good. And then I remember the next thing, I went to my host's house, and talk about good Southern hospitality. That's another thing that kind of just embraces you and made you feel super welcome. Automatic, like right from the start, Clemson just felt like a home. And then next, I would say that academics was, you could tell that there was high importance placed on academics, and that's something that's always been important to me. A lot of people have been talking tonight about our program, the fact that it's rigorous, but that we all stick together and we get through it. And that was conveyed to me right from the start, and I really appreciated knowing that while our program is rigorous and it requires a lot of us, we still have a great time doing it, and we learn as a team. So yeah, spirit, hospitality, and high importance on academics were my first impressions of Clemson.
My first impressions of Clemson were really about the people who were there, and if you ask anyone who's been to Clemson or has graduated from Clemson, they always talk about the Clemson family, and that really rings true not only for our program but for the whole university. And really, Clemson is a family. Everyone looks out for one another. We're all Tigers. We all bleed orange here, and I know that being here. I've got people who are looking out for me, and I felt that immediately when I stepped on Clemson's campus, and that's one of the major reasons that I decided to do my grad work at Clemson.
Okay. My first impression of Clemson, I actually grew up in upstate South Carolina, and I grew up a fan of a different school in the state. But as much as I didn't want to like Clemson, I fell in love. The area is beautiful for those of you that have never been here. The campus is surrounded by a lake. You can also see mountains from far away, but you get that outdoorsy atmosphere, which is something that I was longing for. If you want to take a hike, you can take a hike. If you want to play in the lake, you can play in the lake. So that was my first impression, and then I met Pam, who is one of our faculty members. And when I tell you she is amazing, like she is beyond amazing. She sat down and talked to me about how this program worked, like how the academic rigor was going to, that I'd been apprehensive about. And I can tell you, amazing. Amazing. But first impression was I didn't want to like it, and I fell in love, and I'm here now, and I'm one of the bigger advocates. So great place to be.
So for my first impression of Clemson, I mean, I feel like I could definitely echo what everybody else is sort of saying in terms of the Clemson family and all of that. I mean, that's a vibe that you get right away from the second that they pick you up from the airport at GARS weekend to the moment that they take you to your host's apartment, the moment that they sit down to dinner with you and ask, you know, how was your day of travel? Are you hungry? Are you tired? Can I get you anything to make you more comfortable? There's just all those small touches that just make you realize that everybody here really pays close attention to detail, and they care about their students. And just to kind of reiterate what Ashley was talking about, Pam is wonderful, and as is Tony, one of the other major faculty members. And I remember when I was trying to do my grad search that I had a lot of questions, and Tony was in between flights at an airport, and he took the time to call me and talk to me for like 20 minutes just to like answer the questions that I had, to know that they were coming from a legit source. And so I really appreciated that and him taking the time to do that. And again, that just shows you how much they do genuinely care about their students. And I apologize if I'm laughing. I'm actually in Nate's apartment right now, who is also on this grad chat, and he's trying to get in the background of my video, and I'm very bad at keeping a straight face. Anyway, so again, I just will reiterate that everyone here is awesome. You'll get that vibe right away. The campus in general is just very welcoming. It's so homey. You won't get lost. I know I'm so bad at directions, and I thought I was going to get lost on campus, and when I got here for GARS, I didn't feel like I was going to get lost. I knew where everything was, and so all of that combined, all great first impressions.
Sorry, I thought my mic was on. Okay, so our next question is for Joey, Emma, Tori, and Nate. And we are just wondering what your favorite Clemson memory is.
Favorite Clemson memory, I guess it would have to be the Oreo pudding at CU-Gars. That was a great time for me. I'm not going to say that is the reason why I'm here, but it's a big part of why I'm here.
To echo a little bit of what Joey was saying, I think my favorite memory of Clemson thus far was CU-Gars this past year. Being able to host somebody and being able to join together with my cohort to genuinely show the candidates what a great place Clemson is, not only reinstilled like my love for this place and my love for this program, but as someone who is a big fan of the feels, reinstated a lot of feels for my fellow grads. And so it was really great. I remember especially Nate giving a great speech about Clemmy and our family, and it instilled a lot of feels in all of us. So I'd definitely say that CU-Gars this past year was definitely one of my favorite memories for sure.
My favorite memory has to do with something that I don't particularly love, which is the sports. I went to a smaller institution in South Carolina, Winthrop University, and we didn't have a football team. And I had never been to a college football game before. So my first game happened to be the Clemson versus UGA game. And the power and like the excitement and the hanging out with my cohort and new friends and making those connections, it was just so overwhelming to me, and I really loved the experience of going to my first college game. And I could see why people said that Clemson is like a family, because there is that love and honor and tradition associated with Clemson and football and all that, sports nonsense that I don't really understand. But it's a great feeling to feel included and accepted and that you're part of something bigger. So that was probably my first like major Clemson moment where I was like, whoa, I'm at Clemson. This is so awesome. So that was my favorite Clemson memory so far.
Well, Emma, thank you for stealing my first one, and Tori, thank you for stealing my second one. So, I would have to say just any moment when our group is together has been the best part. In general, oh stop making those faces, Emma. I saw that the feels. Yep, there it is. Okay, but really though, I think it starts with guards, and I think we set a precedent there. And then last year, then we had a nice orientation-esque session at the beginning of the year, and then any social gathering. I really feel that we're able to come together as a group. It's not a competition. We might apply for the same jobs, but that's not what this is about. We're in this together. This is the best networking that we could possibly have. We're really building personal and professional relationships that we're going to keep for a long, long time. And the social part has made this easier, and it'll make leaving it harder. So yeah, you can go on and on, but no one wants that.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. So Sean, Joey, and Andy, and then we'll let this one go because I think everyone has different views on this question. But what's it like to be in a cohort? So we'll start with Sean, Joey, and Andy, and then if anybody else wants to hop in, just go for it.
I like that I get the advantage of going first in this one. I really enjoy being in a cohort program. I actually obviously touched on that a little bit when we were talking about academics, but I think and Nate just touched on it a little bit about us being together, but I mean, you're with a group of people, and for me as a first-generation college student coming to college here and then working in a field that's exclusively dedicated to college is really difficult because when I talk to my family about it, it's a little bit hard for them to understand what I do, and so I spend my time now working in an office in the Gantt Center. Chelsea, Jesse, and I, along with some other grads, are lucky enough to all share that space. There's 8 of us that have desks in there, and so I'm always around people, whether that's at work or in class, who share the same passions as I do, who understand the things that I'm going through, whether that's in class, out of class, whether it's homework, my assistantship, like I said, talking to your parents about your field, the job search. I mean, we all kind of know where everyone's going. And so it's really nice to be able to have that support network as you go through your experiences because, the highs and lows come all the time. And it's really great to know that you're always going to be close by people that are just there to listen. I can feel like we're all like getting like super emotional about it now just thinking about it, but it really shows the connection that you can make with a group of people.
So yeah, Sean pretty much covered just about everything that I was going to say, but it really does come down to the people. There's a lot that we deal with and a lot that we work with, and we really lean on the cohort for support and really look to them for help, for guidance, and to just sit and just complain, or just to have someone like physically be there as you're going through something. We've got a lot going on this semester, and I can probably speak for a lot of people when I say that we may not have made it through had it not been for some of the people in our cohort and some of the people that we've been able to develop relationships with.
Yeah, I think, excuse me, what Joey and Sean have both said are extremely true. You know, like to have a real moment here. Not every cohort is good. You know, some just don't mesh well. I've been lucky that the cohort I've been a part of has been wonderful. There are people that I can lean on for support when I need it. But understand that, you know, if you go into a cohort model, you know, you're really, it's going to be dependent on the people who are there, and you know, it doesn't mean you have to be friends with everyone. Certainly there are people in the program who I'm better friends with than others, but you know, in our program I really feel like no matter how close I am with someone, we have a connection, and I can always lean on them if I absolutely need to. But just keep that in mind, you know, when you start really looking at who might be in your cohort, and you know, are these people that I can spend the next 2 years with?
Yo, that was so nice. Does anybody else just want to hop in right here? Go ahead. No? Okay, then I'll talk. Um, so I kind of agree with what everyone said. I'm trying not to ramble and do everything, but it's really just having like that support network of saying like the second years have been there before, they've done it, they can help you, and your first year cohort is like doing it all together, and you're all having a common set of experiences, and it's just really been a great experience for me. So our next question is, what do you do in your free time? So that question will go to Chelsea, Ashley, Joey, and Corey.
So, as much I think as we love hanging out with each other, I think all of us have a little bit of an eye on us. We all like to be a little introverted, and so it's important to do things that, you know, are outside of the student affairs world to kind of keep you in check and keep you kind of real with yourself. And so I like to spend a lot of time with my roommate, who is truthfully in this program, but still, my roommate is awesome, and she has a dog, and the dog's awesome, so we spend a lot of time together, and you know, it doesn't really matter what we do, whether it's taking the dog for a walk or watching a movie together. Things like that are really awesome. I'm a big runner, and so Clemson has tons of places that you can run. I know someone mentioned like Hartwell earlier, and so that's a beautiful place to run, so I like to do that in my free time. I think there's going to be questioning up too about things that are around Clemson, and so if you ever feel like, you know, you're too overwhelmed here, you have a lot going on, you can always go outside of Clemson and kind of clear your head and do things like that. But yeah, I mean, Nate in particular is really awesome at the work-life balance, and so he's really good at kind of giving you a couple things to do if you just kind of need to take a moment and chill out and just kind of step away and regroup before you kind of get right back into it.
See, can you repeat the question?
Sure. The question is, what do you do for your free time?
Free time. Okay. Well, I am fortunate enough to be a puppy mama. This is McCann. She's in my lap. I'm sure you've seen her. So I get to hang out with my dog. We like to go to the dog park, and we like to hang out with all of the residents that live in the community that I live in. I also really enjoy going kayaking through Campus Rec. You can actually rent kayaks and paddle boards and all kinds of cool things. I also like to eat, and there's some pretty good spots around here to eat, I guess. A lot of the local surrounding towns actually have little small mom and pop restaurants, which you should definitely try. And then occasionally I like to binge watch Netflix, and I'm also learning to play the guitar. I'm taking a class here at Clemson as an elective course. So there's lots of things to do. I'm going to be the next Taylor Swift.
Like Ashley, I'm also a puppy parent. Here's little Dikembe. He's my life, just like Chipotle. That's why they rhyme, Chipotle, Dikembe. They're both Bay. But probably one of the best parts so far, as free time, has been we put together intramural teams for the 2 cohorts, and those have just been absolutely amazing. We've done football. Took us to the playoffs. You know, we eventually won the championship. None of y'all know, so yeah, we won the championship. So we're kind of transitioning into different sports, and so that's always been great, just to remain active, hashtag stay fit, all that good stuff. But yeah.
So rather than going down the road of I hang out with my dog because I do spend a lot of time with Cooper. He is not currently present because he cannot be trusted on the camera, being very upset. But Clemson is kind of a rural area, so there's lots of places to go explore and see the sights. Although Nate would argue that our mountains are not as great as some other mountains. There's lots of hiking trails and really great overlooks to get some really good selfies in and update your Instagram with. But it's good to get out there and explore the world around because we have a very diverse group of people in our program, so it's good to get out and explore somewhere you don't necessarily know about. Or you can go to the dog park with Ashley, McCann, and I, and Cooper.
Sorry, friends. Lost my place over here again in my little note-taking situation. The next question is, what was the hardest part about transitioning for you from wherever you came from to Clemson? And we will start with Andy. So Andy, you want to talk about that first, and then I'll tell you who's coming up next.
I think the hardest thing about transitioning to Clemson was just being so far away from people who I had spent a lot of time with. I was moving into a long-distance relationship, and still currently in one, and so that has been very, very challenging for me. Although we've made it work, and it's been great. I also think I'm far away from home. I'm originally from Wisconsin, and so being down here, I don't get to see my family as often as I would like to. So that was definitely a big transition. And then definitely, on the academic side, transitioning from undergrad to grad school was a little bit of a jump for me, just because while it was stuff that I was more interested in learning, the rigor was a little bit higher than what the coursework I took in undergrad.
Okay, so we'll have Aaron, Emma, Sean, and then Nate finish up this question for us.
Okay, so I would have to say that there were 2 main things that I struggled with when I first came to Clemson. This is going to sound like such a cliche, but time management is always one of those things that comes up when you first come to Clemson. 9 hours of classes, 25 hours of GA work, more or less. And then, like, for instance, this semester now we've added 10 hours of practicum work. And I personally like to work out, so it's juggling all these different things all at once and making sure that you're doing everything. I mean, if you're type A like me, doing everything just right, and learning to still fit in those things like the social life. Mine was pretty much non-existent last semester, but we're working on it. So it's little things like that to learn how to fit in the things that you need to do to be successful in everything that you're doing here at Clemson, because you end up doing a lot, which is awesome. And I think that the second thing that was really, really tough for me was I loved, and I mean loved, my undergraduate institution. I went to Virginia Tech, go Hokies, and I had to make sure I wasn't comparing Clemson to Virginia Tech, and then I had to separate those two experiences. That I did my undergraduate work at Virginia Tech. It was awesome, loved it, but now I'm here at Clemson, and I need to make this experience the best experience it can be by loving Clemson for what Clemson is and loving my program and my cohort members, and thank goodness cohort members, because I don't know what I would have done without them. But I think ultimately time management and making sure that you separate your two experiences, especially if you did have a real love for your undergraduate institution.
Transitioning? Okay. I think my transition went pretty well, honestly, and that's because I was pretty intentional about what I wanted to do and how I wanted things to look. So I really put my all into the transition and look forward to it and bought in. And they're gonna laugh so hard at me right now, but I came here and from day one I knew it was important to drink the orange Kool-Aid. So once I started drinking the Kool-Aid and bought in, I remember the first thing I did when I got here, before I even went to Target or bought groceries or anything. When I moved in, I went and bought 2 Clemson shirts just because I wanted to fit in. I was excited. I knew as an undergrad my transition wasn't as great because I didn't buy in right away, and it took me a long time. And these 2 years fly by really fast, and as quick as you can adapt, you can succeed, and I really feel like I made the most of my 2 years. And by the way, here's Chelsea. Her computer died. That's all.
I think it's my turn. So as I mentioned earlier, I am from Michigan, and so for me, the transition was different, but I kind of even though I only lived 2.5 hours away from home at my undergrad, I was all in there. I didn't go home a lot. I love my family and everything, but I was never much to visit home a lot during undergrad. So that was not something that I noticed as much. To be completely honest, my assistantship is obviously with LGBTQ programs, and for me, that was something that I thought about a lot as I transitioned down here, because I was offered another position in a school where I think I would have felt more comfortable with the assistantship going into it, and I had a lot of that, stigma that South Carolina sometimes carries about coming down here and working in this area, and it was also something I hadn't really worked in before, and so I was really nervous about the assistantship. It's a brand new position here at Clemson, and so I didn't know what that was going to look like, and I'm a pretty structured person by nature, and so I did not get to talk to someone at GARS that did my job previously, and so I think that kind of made me really nervous coming down here. Additionally, the second piece to that was that I worked all summer long in conferences at my undergrad, and so I had 6 days to pack up, move out of a residence hall, go home, and drive down here, and it happened to be my birthday the day I moved down here. So I would definitely encourage whatever you do, wherever you go, to take at least 2 weeks for yourself to kind of breathe, because I had 1 day to breathe before I had to unpack my whole car and then figure out how everything was going to fit back into it before I drove down here. And so I would definitely encourage you all to take some time there, because it's a big jump to go to a new school, and for a lot of people in different regions of the country.
Okay, so I think I'm the last one to answer this question. But for me, transition was interesting because I went to a really small undergraduate institution. I graduated with about 300 people. I lived on campus all 4 years of college, and so for me, Clemson was actually a big school. And I started my assistantship in May, so this is something to think about as you look at start dates for your assistantships. Typically, there aren't a ton of people that start in the summertime, so when I got here in May, there were 5 of us in my cohort that were already here. So 5 people taking classes that I was meeting and getting to know before all the rest of like the 30 other people got here, which I'm so glad they did. So for me, the size was the biggest transition. I got lost a lot. Learning my way around Clemson's campus of 18,000 students was a challenge for me. But luckily, people are really friendly here, so anytime I got lost, there was always a friendly face to help me find my way. So yeah, that's it.
So the next question is going to be, what is the campus culture like? Um, and that's going to be from Sean, Ashley, Emma, and Nate. Sean, will take us off. Sorry, I know you just talked. I didn't do that on purpose.
Okay, so for me, campus culture was similar to my undergrad, which doesn't really mean anything to you all. But for me, it's it's a very friendly campus. When I remember being here at my CU-Grad weekend last year, and the building that we did our interview weekends in is up on a big hill, and I walked out and I remember thinking, like, look how beautiful it is here. Like, this is a college campus. It looks like a college campus, and we are in a college town, and so that is really something that I think plays into the culture of our campus. Everywhere you go is a sea of orange. There's a lot of pride in, you've heard the terms Clemson family, and people talk about the football games and things like that. But I think that, really plays into the culture of our institution. There's a lot of pride around being a Clemson student. There's a lot of, what's the best word I'm looking for? Just a lot of that energy that goes around. People know when things are happening. There's a lot of involvement from our students, things like that. And so whether that's, athletics or seeing students around campus, it's a very friendly place. It's not like it's in a city where a lot of your buildings are spread out. And so when you walk through campus, you are on campus, you're walking through that experience. And so, you really get to see the students pretty much everywhere you go.
Okay, I think I'm next. So campus culture, I missed some of what Sean said just because my computer was being sassy. But every person that I've met here has been really friendly. I absolutely love it. They're nice. The faculty members here really care about you. My students, I work with a lot of students who bridged over from a local technical college to Clemson, and so many of my students find that when they get to Clemson, that their faculty members care about them, they care about their success. There are many opportunities for people to get connected with Clemson alumni. We have a very, very, very strong alumni support system. So as far as jobs go, if you just need a helping hand, if you're in the airport, no matter where you are, you're going to find someone that has been to Clemson or no one's been to Clemson, and you're automatically a part of this family. I feel like it's a traditional Southern school. There's orange everywhere, so learn to love the color. I've been brought to the dark side, but learn to love it. It's going to happen. Am I still live? Okay, I'm done. Bye, guys.
For me, the campus culture, I think Sean and Ashley both said it really well, is just the word family is what resonates with me. Even though this is a campus of 18,000 people, you don't always feel that it's that large. The students I work with freshman students and students who are on probation, and I always find that they're very eager and they're eager to learn, but they're also eager to help and eager to get involved on campus. And I think that permeates pretty much through the student culture and the campus culture, even with graduate students and faculty and staff, always willing and wanting to be involved and to contribute to some degree to Clemson's culture and the contributions that Clemson gives to the surrounding area. That's it.
Okay, so our next question is, what kind of contact do you have with undergraduate students? And let's go Chelsea, Tori, Andy, and Nate on this one.
So I will say that the interaction that you have with students kind of depends on your assistantship. I know that some of us have a lot more student interaction than others do. So our GCDs, our graduate community directors, for example, they have one-on-ones with their RAs every week, and so they have a ton of student interaction. A bunch of us work in the Gantt Center, and so our student interaction kind of comes down to advising student organizations or different student programs on campus, so that's where a lot of our student interaction comes from. But if you just so happen to be in a graduate assistantship where you don't necessarily have student interaction, I think that this program is really good about giving you opportunities to make those interactions happen, and that can usually be done through practicum or internship experiences, or even getting involved in other ways, whether that be joining a committee or even just stopping by different undergraduate programs. I think that this community at Clemson is very welcoming of graduate students. I mean, the undergrads, I feel like, know who the SA grads are, and they're very welcoming to all of us, and so it's very easy to get integrated with them. And so even if you don't directly have an experience with undergrads, with where you are in your assistantship, you can definitely make it happen.
As far as my interaction with undergrads, it's a little bit different because my assistantship is a perfect example about how the climate at a university can change in literally 20 minutes in a meeting. So I used to have interaction with students when they would come into the office for assistance in crafting an electronic portfolio of all of their artifacts of their general education work. And that was kind of interesting because a lot of the time the students were very frustrated and upset because the e-portfolio was a graduation requirement, and they just weren't understanding like why they kept getting turned down for different artifacts because they weren't relating to the competencies. And that was a learning experience for me because, like anyone else, I don't really like people being angry at me for no reason of my fault. So that has transitioned a little bit. And as Chelsea was saying, it is what you make it. You have 400 hours of practical experience in internships or experience with students. So the experience is what you make it. You can always volunteer on committees or assist with other GA's events and get that experience with students in. But the experience is what you make it, and what you put into it is what you're going to get out of it. So that's definitely a pro tip that I would say for anyone incoming to any graduate program is to put your heart and soul into it, and you'll get your heart and soul back.
So my interaction with undergrads, as I stated, my GA-ship is in the Office of Community and Ethical Standards, which is our student conduct office on campus, and so my interaction with students usually is kind of a one-and-done interaction. They come in for their conduct appointment, and I hope that I don't see them again, at least not in my office. So what I would say about our students, though, even the ones who come through the conduct process, a lot of them are very, very reflective. They understand kind of where they may have gone wrong, and they're really open to learn. I would say that about all of our students. And I would also say that my interaction isn't always negative with those students. A lot of it is positive. Plus, there's a lot of opportunities to get interactions elsewhere, through other internships and practicums you'll do for the program. And even in my assistantship, I get to advise our student judicial branch, which is a part of Clemson's undergraduate student government, and they hear cases. And so, get to work with students on a more positive note, and not always in such maybe a negative way.
So I interact with students in a lot of different ways because I work on campus, and I am next door neighbors to the students I work with. Literally, I live in Hall. I see students every single day of the week at all hours of the days, whether I'm doing laundry, getting something to eat, or in my office. It's very cool the way I get to interact with first-year students, get to learn really about their holistic experience from the second they get to campus. But I also get to meet with them in a lot of different ways, whether they're struggling with their transition, struggling with their roommate, or struggling with the conduct policy, as Andy mentioned a little bit. I get to see them in a lot of different ways, and that's for first-year students. And I get to interact with my RAs almost every day as well, whether it's that one-on-one basis or just hanging out at the desk or sitting in the dining hall. That's why I do student affairs, because I love the students and especially the student leaders. Get to mentor them, be a leader, and also be the supervisor and be a part of their Clemson experience, which is super cool. Yeah, so get to have some conduct cases in the morning. Pretty. It's just an example of every day. Yeah. Done now. Okay.
Thanks, Nate. And we'll have another question. What are some ways that you are involved both on and off campus? Talk about what those involvements are and how you found them or how you became a part of them. And we'll start with Joey, Aaron, and Ashley.
Like Ashley, I also work out here with the Bridge to Clemson program, so it does take a little more effort for us to get onto campus, and that's something I'm trying to do a lot better this semester, and trying to find some areas where I can get more involved on Clemson's campus, because our position works not only with Clemson but with the local Tri-County Technical College. But some kind of other ways I've been getting involved around the Clemson area. This past semester I helped volunteer with the PASS program for Southern Wesleyan University, and essentially it's just a study hour mandate for the student athletes. We just monitor and help with like life skills, whether it be study tips, and the second year members who was interning out there. One thing I think is really great, not only about the cohort, but with the faculty and staff, they really push out as many opportunities that are around, whether it be around the country or around the local area, to get involved in different things.
Sorry, y'all. So, kind of to reiterate what Joey said, I feel like there's 50 million ways to get involved on Clemson's campus, both on and off. I was just kind of thinking about this question a second ago, and one of our faculty members, Pam, I feel like I get an email from her every day, if not more than one email, saying, check this opportunity out. You might want to look into this. Here's a way to get involved with this student organization. Sit on this committee. So that's a great way to have access. I mean, they keep us informed on everything that's going on as much as they can. And not only from Pam, but I'm getting emails from student government on ways to get involved, social activities that are going on. So checking your email, keeping up to date on those and seeing what's going on all over campus has been helpful. And I've actually had the opportunity to advise a student organization this semester. We'll co-advise with some other great graduates in our program, Ashley being one of them. We advise Clemson Miracle, which is Clemson's dance marathon benefiting the Children's Miracle Network. So that's been really great to incorporate some things that we were involved with undergrad that we absolutely loved and keep close to our hearts while helping these students here at Clemson do that. There's lots of churches in the area. If you are religiously affiliated, there's a million different churches around that you can go to, and plenty of youth groups. I've found a lot of people that actually like to go to church too. So it's nice to go to church together, and there's ways to get involved at church if you're interested in that. And I mean, there's always events going on. Right now it's basketball. In the fall it was football. I guess I'm kind of getting into social activities, but there are a million ways to get involved on and off campus.
Okay, I think it's me. Ways to get involved on and off campus. as Erin said, checking your email, checking things out. As she said, I do the pleasure also reached out. I tried a bunch of different churches in the area just because that was important to me, and joined a church choir. No, I'm not a good singer, but I tried it. Remember Taylor Swift. I also really reached out. I wanted to know about different areas. For me, athletics is something that I'm interested in. So I really went after people in athletics to try and get plugged in whatever way I could, whether that's tutoring or helping with events or anything like that. I'm a firm believer in the of in life, you get what you want, you get what you go for. So anything that you really want to get plugged into, you have to go for it. So if that's Greek life, or if that is finding a religious community, or finding community service, there are ways to do it. You just have to look for it. And if you don't know where to find it, ask somebody, because somebody in our cohort or in our program has sought it out at some point.
All right, another great. Oh, sorry, Jesse. Did I cut you off? No, I'm good. Okay, cool. Another great way to get involved, and people mention a lot of this, is professional organizations. That's a great way to not only build your resume, but to stay active within the field and start building your reputation as a professional. One way, or the organization that I've been involved in a lot, is NOTA, the Association for Orientation, Transition, and Retention in Higher Education. And I was able to do a NOTA internship over the summer at Seattle University for 9 weeks, but also I was able to do an internship with the association itself as part of the conference planning committee. And those two experiences, on top of my GA, have really, truly what I think is going to set me apart as a candidate in this field, and really enrich my experiences. And getting involved in the field is another great way to make friends that aren't just on Clemson's campus, because this is such a small field, and you can really make those connections early on. And I know I'm not the only one with strong professional association ties. I know we have great leaders within NASPA, ACPA, our regional SECPA, SACSA, SCORE, RHA. I could go on and on. We have lots of connections and lots of involvement amongst both of our cohorts, and I think it's something that really makes our program special as well. Done.
Yeah, to piggyback off Nate with the professional organization piece, so there's a lot of acronyms in student affairs, which I'm sure you already know, but one of the professional organizations that our program participates in a lot is SCCPA, which is a more local organization. It's in the upstate of South Carolina. When you join SPA, which I think you heard about on the last grad chat, but when you join our professional organization at Clemson, you get a membership to SCCPA with that. And so it's a great way to network within this region. And so it's a great way for our grads to gain internship opportunities and practicum opportunities that they may not have gained otherwise. Our grads also, because SCCPA is a smaller conference, have had experience presenting at these conferences, even as first-year graduate students. And even there's a few of us that sat in on the fall planning committee this year, which was a really good opportunity. Just as Nate spoke about his experience with NOTA, it gives you some really good transferable skills and some things to put on your resume for jobs. And so if you're interested in being deeply involved in those local organizations, Clemson's a really great place to be for that. Jesse, I'll hand it back over to you.
Okay. Our last question is going to be talking about internships, some experiences that you've had getting internships both on campus and off campus, and we will start with, I'm actually going to hand it right back to you, Emma.
Thanks, Jesse. Okay, so for internships, I've had a couple of cool experiences. One of them being there's a small private institution that's about 45 minutes from Clemson in the city of Greenville. And so I had an internship with their Dean of Students in the fall of this year that he really invested in me as a professional, and after hearing some of the opportunities that I wanted to have, actually brought me back on in the spring just as an extra experience to do their conduct. And that happens pretty often around Clemson and on Clemson's campus. And so my supervisor for that internship has actually become a mentor of mine. I was able to connect to other professionals in the field through my experience with him. And so I guess my advice with internships on that end is that don't be afraid to reach out to people at other institutions different than Clemson. It's actually really recommended because you'll make some really great connections and have some really great experiences.
So I had a really great experience at Furman as well. I actually got the opportunity to apply for a competitive internship in which I received a small stipend for it, which was really awesome of an experience, and it's like 10 or 15 hours a week, or between 10 and 15 hours a week, and it's working with Furman's programming board. They call themselves FUSAB, and that has been a different experience that I didn't get to have because my assistantship is in academic affairs. And not to say that academic affairs doesn't like to have fun, but campus activities has definitely been a way for me to really branch out and expand my own competency in the field and have that experience. And as Emma was saying, it's really a great opportunity to be in the upstate of South Carolina because there are institutions that are so close that you can venture out to get different experiences other than a mid-sized public land-grant institution. So it's a really great way to engage in other ways and build that network, and as Emma said, gain mentors and advisors and people that can help you through the job search process. So there's definitely a lot of opportunities out there, and don't feel as though you need to stay strictly at Clemson, although there are a lot of great opportunities on campus. You can branch into those in a less formal way and get experience that way through volunteerism as well.
All right, awesome. Thanks, everyone. Shout out to all our participants who helped us out in this chat, all our grads. Shout out. Thanks to everyone who is watching or will watch this at some point. There will be an assessment link, a follow-up link below this video in YouTube. So if you will, after you watch the video, click on that, follow that link, let us know what you thought, let us know ways we can make it better or worse. Just let me know, or don't let me know, you don't have my email. But follow that link, let us know, and everybody hop on and say your goodbyes.
Oh my gosh, it would do the cadence count.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Thanks, y'all. Love you. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, bye.